Hello and welcome to Inspiring Marketing. I'm Simon Kemp, and in today's episode, we're going to explore the rise of mobile messengers and how these platforms are completely rewriting the rules of social media marketing. So the theme of today's episode was inspired by the Digital in 2017 report that I published last week together with We Are Social and Hootsuite. And it's a theme that's become a bit of a trend across a number of the recent reports in this ongoing series. This is the latest snapshot for digital, social or mobile use around the world. Obviously a whole load of very impressive numbers in here, and particularly that finding that more than half of the world's population now uses the internet. But there's one number on this slide that I want to draw your attention to, and it's this one in the bottom right-hand corner. As you can see, the use of mobile social media has leapt by 30% over the past 12 months. And whilst that number is pretty impressive in itself, it's the evolution in behaviours that go with that growth that are particularly important to marketers. When we look at the world's most active social media platforms, it's easy to spot a clear trend. And it's not so much the numbers on this next chart that we want to be looking at, but the colours. The red bars indicate a mobile messenger, or a chat app if you prefer. And as you can see, 4 of the world's 6 most popular social media platforms are now messengers. And what's more, these platforms are growing faster than the more conventional social networks like Facebook and Twitter. Now, if you'd like to dig into that data in more detail, you'd be pleased to hear that it's all available for free. You can access all of these reports using the URLs on this slide, and you'll also find handy clickable links in the description section for this video on YouTube as well. But what does all of this data actually tell us? Well, the first thing is that mobile messengers are already a very big deal. A recent report from Juniper Research suggests that globally, more messages will be sent via messenger platforms this year than will be sent by email. And in terms of frequency of engagement and interaction, it's likely that mobile messengers have already overtaken conventional social networks to become the world's primary form of online interaction as well. Now that represents a huge shift in people's behaviour and in a really short space of time as well. So why have chat apps become so popular and so quickly? Well, this is something that I've been asking people all over the world over the past few months, and there are some common themes that have been coming through again and again in those conversations. The first of these is that the conversations we have on messengers are usually more natural than the conversations that we have in, say, the comment section of a platform like Facebook. Messengers are designed for fluid conversation, and that's still how most of us would prefer to engage with our friends, with our families, and with our colleagues. People have also been talking about the fact that there are no adverts in messengers, at least for now. Now that may change at any time, of course, but many people have told me that they prefer the clean and focused environments of platforms like WhatsApp and WeChat compared to the somewhat ad-heavy experiences that have come to characterize larger social networks. People in developing markets also cite the fact that messengers are much cheaper to use. That might come as a bit of a surprise because most social platforms are still free. But it's not the platforms that have a price tag though. It's the data that we need to run them, and social networks often involve a lot of heavy content like video, which can quickly add up to a hefty data bill for people accessing on pay-as-you-go mobile contracts. But the last of the points on this slide is perhaps the most interesting, the fact that mobile messengers are less stressful than public social networks. Now, this is a theme we've heard a lot about in recent months, whether it's Instagram influencers like Isena O'Neill talking about taking hundreds of photos of the same pose just to find one that she's happy with, or whether it's charities talking about the impact of social media on young people's self-esteem. These issues are far less prevalent in messengers, where most conversations are private and take place between people who already know each other. But this rapid shift to messengers has some serious implications for marketers, especially because messengers change the fundamental rules of social media marketing. The first key change is that messenger conversations are private, which means that marketers can't use social listening tools to monitor and understand people's behaviours and motivations. It's also close to impossible for brands to join people's conversations about products, brands, or industries unless those people actively invite us to join them, which I'm guessing isn't going to happen very often. Now, this is a huge loss for marketers because social media listening had the potential to help us dramatically improve our ability to identify, understand, and deliver the things that our audiences actually want, need, and desire. Sadly, though, we seem to have squandered most of that opportunity by focusing our social media listening activities on measuring campaign performance. In other words, we spent far too much time listening to conversations about ourselves instead of identifying and listening to conversations that help us understand the broader needs, interests, and motivations of our audiences. But the good news is there is still a window of opportunity left to go out there and listen to the meaningful conversations that people are still having about our brands in public social media like Twitter. So take advantage of that while you still can. Go out there and have a listen. Now, the second big challenge for marketers hoping to use messengers is that there's no way to advertise in most of the popular platforms, at least not for the moment. Now, that's likely to change very soon. We're already hearing plenty of talk from Mark Zuckerberg and co. about Facebook's intentions to monetize both WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. But given the recent updates to WhatsApp's terms and conditions, where the company specifically stated that they don't want users to have a spammy experience, my guess is that these platforms are also looking for alternatives to interruptive advertising. And the third important challenge relates to measurement. The fact is, likes, followers, views, and so on simply don't matter as much in messengers. What does matter, though, is inspiring meaningful conversations about our brands and ideally encouraging favourable word-of-mouth endorsements between people who trust each other's opinions. And what's really become clear for me over the course of all of these conversations is that the boosted content approach that most marketers have come to depend on in social media simply won't work in a messenger-centric world. Brands can no longer expect to create mediocre content, put a stackload of ad investment behind it, and expect to somehow hit any kind of meaningful KPIs. So if we can't buy our way into people's social feeds, there's only one option left, and that is that we need to earn people's attention instead. Now, of course, the key question here is how, and the answer is all about adding value to our audience's lives. We need to look at how we can use every element of our marketing mix to offer something meaningful to our audiences, and how we can use those elements to inspire meaningful and valuable conversations. This means that we don't need to wait until we sell our products or services before we try to add value to people's lives. Instead, we can look for ways to add value proactively at every opportunity and through every interaction. So that might mean designing packaging that inspires people to share a picture of it in their messenger conversations, or hosting an event that people choose to talk about with their friends. It could also be providing an amazing customer service experience that people actively tell each other about, or even using clever approaches to recruitment to inspire conversation and storytelling amongst friends. Our biggest task and our biggest opportunity as marketers is to create brands that are truly worth talking about. And as part of that, we need to start thinking of social media engagement as the outcome of great marketing and stop treating it as just another vanity metric that we can buy from media owners. True engagement is what happens when people care about what a brand or organization has done and choose to talk about it with others. And that leads us to the key tip for today's episode. Don't just think of social media success in terms of creating and delivering content. Think of it in terms of inspiring meaningful and valuable conversations about your brand at every opportunity. Now, if you'd like to download the slides from this show, you'll find them all on kepios.com. I've included the specific URL for today's content in the description section for this video on YouTube. And in the spirit of inspiring conversation, if you have any questions about the content in today's episode, or if you'd like to discuss any of the ideas that it's inspired, please feel free to get in touch with me on social media. You'll find me as Eskimon on both LinkedIn and Twitter. And if you enjoy this episode, you'll be pleased to hear that you'll be able to find loads more presentations like this on the Inspiring Marketing YouTube channel. So just click on the link on your screen here to subscribe. But with that, thanks very much for tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Inspiring Marketing.